Today we're gathering around the campfire with Rita Marie, a QHS member whose life is as exciting and grounding as a hike through the mountains. But what trails did she tread to reach these heights? Let's trek into the wilderness and discover the adventures that led Rita Marie to where she is today.
Hi, I'm Rita Marie. That's a capital R, capital M, one word. And I was born in Manhattan back in the 50s. I'm the first generation actually, my parents are the first generation in America. My mom is Polish and Czechoslovakian. My dad is Italian, but they have both passed away. So I keep that as an is because they're always with me. Okay. And I have siblings, an older sister, an older brother. I have, a little surprised, I'll get to that part in just a minute. My mom, she was a tough lady. She went through a lot herself in her life. My dad was a little more on the quieter side. My mom, kind of, you say, she wore the boots in the family, and she was really, really tough. And I know her life was hard. And what she did because she did what she thought she had to do. But that doesn't mean that I have to follow through with the same pattern. So, but I learned a lot from my mom, and I do love her dearly, and I never hold anything against her. My parents actually were foster parents of the year before I was born, and they had taken care of prior to my birth. We had my sister Jackie, Rosemary, and Patricia. And they had, some of them had some issues, some health issues, and my mom took care of them. Over the course of my life, I have had 20 something foster brothers and sisters. So, and they were always considered my family, not my foster. But the biological part, then I'd have to explain to everybody. So as a matter of fact, in December, I will be seeing my one foster sister, Patricia, that I haven't seen since 1984. So we do keep in touch with some of them. So just go back a little bit with my birth. My mom was walking with my dad one time in the city, born and raised in Brooklyn, also in Connecticut, which I'm a country girl. And as they were walking, my mom was scheduled for a surgery the next day. And she said, Tom, something doesn't feel right. I'm canceling this surgery. Well, it's a good thing she did because the tumors that they told her she had were my twin brother and I. So I'm a tumor. Okay, so I grow on people. Okay. Anyway, my mom had a very tough delivery, really tough time. She had fluid coming out of her abdomen, she had coming out of her legs. So the nurse said, I didn't touch you. I'm getting the doctor. And they had a shortage of doctors at the time too, because of the Korean War and stuff that was going on there. Doctors were limited. So when they sectioned my mom, they took me because I was turning blue already with the cord wrapped around my throat. So I already had my first strangulation going on, choking. And then, surprise, I have a twin brother. So he was fine. Few days later, I came down with pneumonia. My mom had to have heart surgery. She was really tough. And my dad even had to sign the papers back then with Catholics, whether to save the children or the mom back then. And so, of course, we were the ones to have to be saved. If anything, that's how bad it was at that time. When we left the hospital, because my dad couldn't take care of us and the children and all, we went into the foster home. I shouldn't say foster home, it was Angel Guardian Home, where my foster siblings came from. So they took care of us for a while until we were healthy and my pneumonia was much better at the time. And let's see, later on, My mom, well, first of all, between the pneumonia and the strangulation and everything else that happened to me, my mom always said that I was a fighter. So she was right. And I was tough. Anyway, we went to we lived in the city for quite some time until eighth grade, and then we moved to the country. But I was a tough kid back then, and I always protected my twin brother. And I used to fight for him on the streets too, for him. Anybody that bothered him, they would come get me and say, Rita, Rita, hurry up. Somebody's after your brother, and I'd be right out there and you don't touch him because if you touch him, you're touching me. So, and later on, he's 6'2" and I was 5'2". Probably shrunk too. Okay. I'm hoping he shrunk too at the same time. And then um I had lots of time when I was younger, I had a lot of strep throat. My sister, Patricia, when she was 5, she was carrying me and dropped me on the steps, and I hit my head. I've also fallen off a bench. We had a finished off basement, and in the basement, one section was finished, and the other section was where it took us out. And it was, the washer, the dryer, and the furnace, and everything else. And then you would open up the basement doors, and you would go outside right on the main street. And I was on a bench, and we were all playing, and I was standing. I fell off the bench, hit my head again, right on the concrete, but no damage that I know of, or that I will admit. Okay. And one time in the basement, we were playing, and we had company, and it was a holiday. And in the other room, we had a very long table because we were usually 8 at the table, including 6 of my total. We were 6 siblings. And I was pinned up against one of the pipes being strangled from a family member, her son. And my uncle is looking, and they call me Rita then, and he's going, Johnny's choking Rita. And they all look, and they go, no, they're just playing. So as I'm turning colors and so on, he looks again, and he looks again. Johnny is choking Rita. So they peeled him off of me. So that was my second strangulation, from birth. Later on in life, he did it to me again when we were older. This time I was by myself, and we were in Connecticut at the house, and I realized I was helping him with his hygiene, his deodorant, and for some reason he just snapped. And he started choking me again. And I realized, oh my God, there's nobody in the house. I'm by myself, and he is strong. And his fingers were at my throat right down in here. And I could feel the oxygen going and my head getting dizzy and stuff. So I finally said, I'm by myself. I have to protect myself and get out of this. And I just went back and punched him right in the stomach and threw my arms up. And then he let go. Well, what had happened with Johnny was when his mom was pregnant at 7 months, she had the German measles, and that affected him with his mental health. So she finally admitted after those times that he really needed to be someplace else. And then another time, a very close person got mad at me and very upset because we were going back and forth with an issue. And that person snapped and strangled me at that point. So I've had 4 strangulations. I've had near drownings when I was 3 or 4. My brother saved me from the drowning while everybody was out watching the auto accident that happened at the beach. Everybody was paying attention to that. My brother turned around and saw me drowning. He saved me. Let's see. There's just been a lot. And I've always noticed that ever since my birth, I've always had issues from my lungs on up. And even when we were little, we used to play wrestling, my brothers and I. And if they sat on me, I used to say, now I was little, so just bear with me. But I used to say, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Get off of me. I can't breathe. And then I would fight like the Dickens and get them off of me or whatever. And then when I was 3 or 4 again, my mom had made a fresh cup of coffee from the percolator pot. That's an old time. And I reached up and the coffee came pouring down on me from the cup and melted into my arm with the sweater right at the crook of my arm, and ran me to the drugstore in the city, and they had to cut it off, and the sweater just kind of stuck to me, and so it was a big thing. So I had a scar from that. But I've been working on that, and I do a lot of energy work, like Reiki, therapeutic touch. I did a lot of chakra readings and then so forth. And I noticed as I was working on other people, I noticed one day, oh my God, I can see the vein in my arm. And that was starting to heal. But there's still a little bit of a scar there. And people used to say, oh, your arm is dirty. And then I'd show them, they go, oh, I'm sorry, because it was a scar, real good, deep scar and thick. So I've had a lot of, those type of issues. And every time in this adult life, I still have a little trouble breathing. I've had a lot of strep throat when I was little, but I still have my tonsils. And don't ask me where. I wasn't dating anybody, doing anything. But at 14, I came down with mononucleosis. And that knocked me for a loop for many, many years. And I've been just a fighter with trying to take care of my own health. But I do have to say that the devices and the touch, I was just writing something. So I'm going to back up here and I'm going to just say what I was writing for my entry. Last night, when I was sleeping or trying to get to sleep, I had this pain in my left arm. And I've had some pain in my left arm off and on. And I've also strained my left arm so much from the amount of mowing and all that I do here, and in and out of all the posts and everything else, that I put such a strain that a few years ago it went up and it affected me and into my jaw, that I did have to have my tooth pulled, my molar. And there is a tiny little piece stuck in there still, but it split. I had such an infection, it even started to bleed and so on because the pain. And me, I just keep going and going and going because I've got to get this stuff done. And we while I was sleeping last night, I had this pain in my arm, but this time it was a little different. It was getting really strong. And it was just like in the one area, but very, very strong. And my daughter, who is 43, one of my twins, and the youngest one, and I have an older daughter. I have a boy-girl twin. And she just went into the hospital on Friday unexpectedly with a minor stroke. And the carotid artery up in the occipital, or was it the ICA, and a few other issues. They did find I can't think of it right now, a clot in there too. So she's still in the ICU right now. So I thought, well, wait a minute, what's going on with me? And I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of my other daughter who just is a survivor right now, but she had 2 different types of breast cancer. Last year, she just had the surgery, and the only way they found the right one was through a mammogram. So, ladies, get your mammograms. And then the MRI showed the left one a totally different. So, chemo in one, radiation in another. And now there's a possibility it's back. So, we'll know Saturday. Anyway, so once again, last night, the arm was really hurting me, and I felt slight nausea. And I said, that doesn't sound good. So last Wednesday, when I was going on the site, the .org, QHS.org dashboard, and I was looking for something, I got thrown into the meeting. I was looking for the meditation, and I got thrown into the meeting. I even hit that. And it was Dr. A and everybody else on there. And I learned there that I can take the cue and actually put it to the body part that is affecting me, because I've always kept it on the side. and just it did the whole body, and then I would concentrate on that particular area. So I took it and I put it over by my carotid artery, the right side, and I left it there. And after a few moments, it started to diminish the pain in my arm. So I said, okay. So I did it again, and I was able to get back on it again and do it again. So I did it 3 times. And then the 4th time I did it, I put it on my arm. So I didn't feel any nausea. I put it there. And then this morning I did my heart, working with the heart. And so I'm concentrating on this as well. So I have to say thank you, because you probably saved me from being strangled from oxygen for the 4th time from everything else that has happened to me. Being strangled, being in the head, everything is always between my lungs and my head issue. So anyway, I'm grateful that I am part of this and that I can share this with everybody as well. I'm not too sure. Let's see. Oh yeah, I've had near drownings also. As I said, that time and with my brother, and then another time, and a near suffocation. So again, it's always in this area, but I fight and I survive. And I have had 2 marriages. Was divorced for the first time after 25 years. And then I was married again to someone who had always liked me and was always interested in me, and we knew. And I was told when I was married, but I had no interest, that the 2 of us would be together. Les and I would be together. And I said, no way. He's nice, but I have no interest in him. Well, many years later, I was going through my divorce. He was going through his second divorce. And we happened to bump into each other again. And I told him, and he says, why didn't you well, this is what he said. I have to show you. I said, well, yeah, I'm getting divorced. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, he brings that little smirk on. Oh, I'm sorry. So all in all. So he asked me out and if he can call me. And I said, sure. I said, well, the 2 of us, I was told we were going to be together anyway. So we did get married. And then a year ago, January 6th of 2024, he passed away from Parkinson's. So I'm now widowed, and I am going to be 70 next month. So, well, so is my twin. And sometimes I forget to wish him a happy birthday because I think it's just my birthday. It's our birthday, but we're together, so I don't have to wish him. So remind me to wish him a happy birthday separate. Anyway, so that was with my mom and everything else that I have had. I just don't know what else at this point to say, but I am grateful. I did go through, I should say, a lot of bullying. And I think because of my mom was tough with the physical abuse and the verbal abuse, being called stupid all the time, being slapped. My jaw used to make this cracking noise, but I think the device has finally stopped that. And I don't hold any grudge or anything against my mom. As I said earlier, I do believe that she did what she did because that's what she thought was right at the time. And growing up in the city, they were tough and we were tough. And she made me tough to endure 13 years of verbal abuse at work. And I continued there, and most everybody else was gone, but I was still there until I decided to leave last September. A year ago, September, I left and retired. So I'm enjoying life, getting a lot done here. I work on my property a lot, and I've become an author for When We Meet Again. It's a semi-fictional based on true events by R.M. Bryant. That's my author's name, R.M. Bryant. I'm writing another book. I'm doing a online business for meditation, Pure Hearts Enhanced meditation sessions, where I actually do a teaching and a meditation in the same time. I go out when I can take care of. I just finished building a wood shed, a three-sided wood shed. I can build just about anything. I can tune up my own mowers. So there's a lot that I do because I have to do it on my own. I don't wait for anybody to do it for me. And I am really grateful for the being part of quantum healing and being able to heal myself as well as using my own commands and using the device and everything that is available to me, my own energy work as well. So the combination of everything I see that is keeping me strong. And my mom, again, I give her thanks because she made me tough and she made me a survivor. And my thing is that I wish that this world, and I put this out there, that all this bullying stops. Stop. And I notice that when people bully, that's because they're hiding something on their own. And if you're hiding something of your own self because you're afraid, stop being afraid and just face it. And stop blaming everybody else and take heed to your own life. Know that you are responsible for your own. Are you the captain of your ship? Does it control you or do you control it? And that's how I have survived. And that's what I want to see this world. And that's what I would like to work through, besides my projects and so on, with all the energy work that is to come in the future. So I thank you very much for listening to me, but I can go on, and I won't. So thank you and namaste to everyone.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.